Voices of the City, your local, statewide, and national information hub for all things that impact you. I'm your host, Ty Williams, entrepreneur, master educator, and beauty influencer. I'm super excited today for episode 1 as we sit down with the renowned and reelected Mr. Jordan Johnson, Executive Director of Georgia Shift. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
You look amazing.
Listen, I know I had to come match your energy today.
Hey, I came with it now. So let me see what you got going on
Just
today.
a little something, nothing major.
Nothing major. Well, I'm glad you sat down and talked with us today. So we are so excited about your new term that's coming up. We know that you're going to be initiated again into politics on Friday?
This Friday, yeah.
Friday at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure we're there to support you because you've done some amazing things in the community. So we're going to sit down right here today and talk about the groundwork. What does it take to be Jordan Johnson?
I don't know about all that. I mean, so, I ran for office when I was 25, 26. And, when I ran, my whole idea was to do it because the community needed some support.
Yeah.
And I, never professed to have had all the answers, right? But I knew that if we were ever going to change our communities, if we were ever going to, get Augusta to be the place that we know it can be, and not just our city, but other counties and communities around us, that it started with us.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I decided to run and, it's in the rearview mirror at this point.
Yeah.
You said initiate it, and that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm getting jumped back into it again for another 4 years, but I'm excited about it.
Oh, yeah. We're happy to have you for another 4 years. The things that you're doing is definitely amazing.
I appreciate you.
The people that look like you and me, everybody in our community needs support. And you are definitely on the front line. So we need you here.
Don't have me smiling too big on this
we do.
camera.
We do need you here because it's impactful. It's good to see somebody that's fighting for us, and we need that. Right. So you're from Augusta, Georgia, correct?
Yeah, I'm born and raised.
So what are some of the things about your childhood or that made you know, hey, politics is for me?
I never really know. So if I take a minute to look and just kind of think back, I think it would go back to my goddad.
Okay.
So little backstory. I was born in Augusta, raised here. My mom and dad, my mom is from Augusta. My dad's from San Antonio.
Oh.
But when my mom was studying to be a nurse, she was going to Augusta University.
Okay.
My dad worked full-time at a warehouse. We stayed with my grandmom and my godmom.
Yeah.
And my godmom was a Delta. She was a teacher at Laney.
Okay.
From a teacher, she became a guidance counselor. And, she and her husband were like, Cliff and Claire Huxtable in my mind. They had this beautiful piano in the house, and it was just this big, beautiful home.
Right. Fairy tale life, right?
But you know what? Yeah, exactly. You got just these black faces, driving Chryslers and had a car phone back in the 90s. And it's like, are they rich? But my godfather loved politics. And that's all he ever talked about. They had dogs.
Okay.
The dog name was Malcolm and Marcus, or Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
And I never understood that until I got a little bit older. But the dog name was Malcolm and Marcus.
Wow.
And when we were, wanting to go outside and play or whatever, my goddad wouldn't let us go until like we read something, or he made us watch MSNBC, or I think it was like C-SPAN or something back then. He would make us watch the news and report back what we learned.
Okay.
So as I got older, like I remember always being exposed to politics and exposed to community, because with my goddad, it was politics. With my godmom, it was mentorship programs when she was at Barton Chapel Elementary School.
Yeah.
So I was always exposed to it, but it wasn't until I got into high school that I really took my first swing at it, because a commissioner pretty much told me if I needed anything in the community, let him know. He was, we got connected on Facebook at the time, and he helped me fill a pothole in my community.
Wow.
We went back and forth a little bit like we do now. I still serve for this commissioner now, but I started to see like directly, how to reach out to a commissioner, how to say what you need, how to hold that person accountable. And then long story short, the pothole was fixed. There was an intersection that was paved. So I look back to like my goddad and my godmom. I really think that they laid the foundation for me. My mom and dad laid the foundation for character, but they really laid the foundation for community involvement.
Yeah. That's super important. Having people that you can look up to, mentors, people that are going to help you along the way.
Yeah.
I'm super happy about everything that you're doing.
Appreciate you.
I'm excited because, you sought me as an opportunity to be this host for this podcast. And, that's just kind of giving back to the community as well. Seeing something, nurturing it, and then building it up. That's what it's about. So
you got it. I mean, I tell you all the time.
Now this is not about me today,
but we're gonna give you your flowers. I mean,
I appreciate that.
I met you, so I think we had some conversation back and forth on social media.
We did,
but I came to your vision party.
Yep,
and I haven't even told you this yet.
Oh wow!
Everything that I put on my vision board, I accomplished this year.
This is exciting.
Everything except get my passport and go to Paris.
Okay.
I hadn't done that yet.
Let me know when you do that one. Okay, so that's everything. Exciting to hear. I do need to reach out to a lot of people that were at my vision board party to see kind of where they are with their goals. Because I kind of know where me and my husband are, I'm like, what about the other people? So
y'all set it off.
Really? Yeah. You know what? And I don't think I'm going to do it this coming year. No, I have so much going on. I don't know if I'm going to have the time. I've waited too late to kind of get it going. And I really want it to be, even bigger than it was last year. So maybe in the middle of the year, maybe I can revisit
I kept everything from that vision party.
Really?
I have my board and I had my goals set to the side. And on the right of it, I put, don't stop. Get it.
I remember that. Okay, that's great. So what are some of the goals on there that you've accomplished?
So one of the first ones was just stay consistent.
Oh.
Because I have this thing to where I'm easily distracted by like the everyday hustle and bustle.
Me too.
And I think that's just something that we all deal with.
Yeah.
So it's like if I set my mind on something, my goal is to just be consistent with getting it done.
Yeah.
That's like the top of it.
Yeah.
Another one was to find a good church home.
Okay.
So I found me a good church home.
Where are you at?
So I've been going to Macedonia on and off with Bishop Fuller. That's your church?
Yes, so I love Gregory Fuller.
I have not, when they say, have you found a good church? If you look for a church, you found it?
Yeah.
I haven't gone to the front yet.
Okay.
But I'm going to. No, I'm not scared. Okay. I'm not scared, but I claim them as my church home now.
Yeah. Shout out to Macedonia of Augusta, Bishop Gregory Fuller. He is amazing. He's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, he's like that. I've never really met somebody who has a mix between like dad and uncle.
He does give those vibes because it's like he's stern in the way, and when you're listening to him, you're like, okay, wait a minute, now Bishop said this, but then when you listen to him again, you're like, wait, that was so nurturing, like it was motivating.
And speaking of my godmama again, she was a member at Macedonia when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
and I remember watching him preach when I was little. I'm like, yeah, that's why
he's the one.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And I've tried to stay somewhat healthy. I can't say that I've knocked that out of the ballpark because PJ Ware and, Jennifer Renee, Jay Renee, all of them, they keep me full. With
they
all
do.
This food I keep ordering from them. But I've gotten myself to a degree of, somewhat healthy.
Somewhat healthy. Well, keep on working on that one. We're going to get you right.
I'm trying my best.
So for the young people who might not feel connected to local government, how do you think the government actually impacts their daily lives in Augusta?
Man, how much time do we have?
That's a big question, right?
So actually tomorrow, prime example, tomorrow, the commission is having a special call meeting because our trash contract has expired. And you may think, okay, young people don't care about garbage pickup.
Right.
But you go a week without your trash getting picked up, right?
Yeah.
Our garbage contract hadn't been picked up. It is expiring. So the commission is having to go back to the drawing board and create a new contract. So that's just a small everyday thing. Right. But if you think about some of the other things that folks are talking about, I saw somebody on Facebook the other day talking about Riceboro Road needing to be paved.
It does. I'm so tired of having to buy tires because every time you drive on one of these roads, you get a nail.
Riceboro Road will change your radio station.
Yeah, it will.
So, but you would be so surprised to know that Riceboro Road has 1, 2, 3, 4 commissioners assigned to it.
Are you serious?
It starts in my district.
Okay.
And it ends in District 3.
Wow. So
you have 3 or 4 commissioners that's over Riceboro Road.
So we should be able to get paved roads, right?
You should be able to get paved roads. You should be able to get your trash picked up.
Right.
You should be able to have fun things to do in the city. You should be able to have a thriving downtown. You should be able to have areas that are safe for you to live, for you to work. That's affordable, everything that you need out of a city that you would want to live. If you want to go to another community, let's say you want to live in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
What are the reasons you want to live in Atlanta?
That you can't stay here, right?
All of those things you can have in your own city.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure that you're engaging your local government.
Yeah.
You've got to know who your mayor is. You've got to know who your commissioners are. You've got to know who your sheriff is.
Right.
And then you can't feel intimidated to where you don't feel like you can reach out to them and talk to them directly, because that's what we got elected to do.
Right.
But ever so often what happens is politicians and elected officials, two different things. They forget that the people put them in office, and they focus more so on the people who gave them contracts and gave them, contributions and things like that.
That's a word.
So young people just have to understand that this is your government, this is your city, and there's nothing that you cannot accomplish if you first off just reach out to your elected official and then get some other people on board to help you out with it.
And I think the biggest thing comes in, they think that you're a little black girl, little boy, or, you don't have a say, and take it for instance, somebody that looks like me and you, we can sit right here and be a part of the change.
Yeah.
All you have to do is make the right connections,
That's right.
have the right resources. And I remember, I don't know if your mama used to say this, but my mama said a closed mouth does not get fed.
That's right.
So if you're not saying and voicing the things that you're needing, how do we know?
How do we know what the need is?
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time, you need to make sure that you're advocating for yourselves.
Yes.
I was in 10th grade and Hardy Davis, our former mayor, he was a state senator at the time.
Okay.
And he came to the school and he was just so poised and his tie was on perfectly and suit fit perfectly. And I think that's a smooth brother right there. Yeah. And he had a church up the street from my house where we were living. I made it my mission to go to the church just to shake his hand and talk to him. Didn't know, almost 10 years later, I would be serving as the commissioner when he was mayor. Wow. The commissioner that helped me pave the intersection. This had to have been maybe 2012, we're between 2012 and 2014. Yeah. I mean, he and I went back and forth in a Facebook message, the same Facebook message that, the way that folks be messaging me and messaging you about trying to get things done. I shot him a message on Facebook. Went back and forth with him for about a month or two. Finally got the issue fixed. Yeah. And to this day, the intersection's paved. I don't think people really understand the power that they have.
Right. You can make influence through social media, and it doesn't have to always be in such a formal or articulate manner in just the beginning, right? Like, just a simple, hey, how are you doing? I'm so-and-so. When I reached out to you, like you said, it was on Facebook. Yeah. It was a leap of faith, like, hey, I'm going to invite him. I don't know if he'll come, but it's worth a shot, right? Because I knew, it would be something impactful. And I think that was one of the words on my vision board this year, and I use it so much, even being a part of Voices of the City now, it's impactful. Bringing in everybody and to just work for one good, and that's just to make our voices heard.
Yeah, I mean that's the key.
That's the key.
And I don't think that. I think it's been somewhat of a lost art.
Yeah,
you think about back in the day, even with like the civil rights era and things like that.
Oh yeah,
it was grassroots.
Yeah,
it was students and young folks who just didn't want to accept things the way that they were, and they came together and they organized. And now we're able to sit here and talk freely about the community because of the work they did.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of, taking that first step and just doing it. And I think that once we start like really, I don't want to say hammering because that sounds aggressive, but once we really start placing emphasis on the power that individuals have to make collective change, man, I don't think that we've even scratched the surface of what's possible.
And I like that you say individuals because this podcast is not just for politicians.
That's right.
This is not just a politic conversation. Right. This is about individuals, your local business owners, right? Those people that are making the impact in our city, and we are not giving them their flowers like you talked about. We're not recognizing them and seeing the things that they're actually doing to make a difference.
Do you think that Augusta is a who you know kind of city?
It is.
And I hate that so badly.
But that's the truth. However, I don't feel like it puts people in a bubble, or I don't think it's going to keep the next person from doing, X, Y, and Z. Because I kind of know some situations that it's about who you know.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, you have to fight for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be, and I like to say this, you have to be your own voice.
That's right.
Because we want to, take the time to nurture the things that are important to us.
Yeah.
So if you're not being the person to stand up for yourself, who is?
Yeah. I think this is going to be good because we can get rid of this whole idea of gatekeeping.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't care who you know or where you've been or what your background is. If you're helping, trying to create a better city,
We
trying
want
to
you
grow a
here.
city, let's come talk
We
about
want
it.
you on the couch.
Right here on this couch.
We want you on the couch.
I'm telling you, I've been so stoked to get on this couch.
I mean,
it's a shame.
I've been stoked to get you here. I've been stoked to get here.
I love it.
We're going to keep it moving, though. So what is one issue in Augusta or surrounding cities, because this podcast is not just for Augusta. We want to chime in on CSRA, right? That you think young people should care about. What's being done to make things better?
Let me take me a little sip of this water. It's not sponsored yet.
Not sponsored yet.
Yeah. All right. So what is one issue that I think young people should pay attention to, what they should care about? I think that's a good question because there's a lot. I think the first thing is really understanding your place in all of this. Homelessness is huge.
Yes.
Affordable housing is major. All of these topics are great, right? They're topics we can talk about all day. I just don't think that if we understand our place in it and changing those topics or contributing to whatever outcome we want to see happen with those issues, then knowing about those issues don't matter.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that young folks really should just understand their place in making change. And I hate to even sound like young folks need to just, because then I sound old, but you have a place.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can emphasize that enough.
Right.
The first thing is, of course, pay attention. Like whatever your passion is or whatever your interest is, it's going to naturally find you when you're trying to find your way around the community. You're going to find it. You're going to find your why, but you have to be paying attention. Again, you have to know who your elected officials are. You have to know what we're doing. You have to know what we're doing in public and behind those closed doors at City Hall. Like you've got to pay attention. And I think what we fail to realize sometimes is that we are still a great majority in this city.
Yeah.
Young people, our age, younger and slightly older, make up the majority in some regard in this community.
Yeah.
So without our vote, such and such and such can't get elected.
That's right.
Without our support, such and such and such won't have a good business. Without our support, X, Y, and Z won't happen. And so I really just want young people to pay attention. And I know politics is not sexy. Community is, it feels good, but we all have our day-to-day lives to live, but we got to pay attention.
We do.
We have to pay attention because while we're not paying attention, there's really a game being played on our backs and it only ends when we stand up.
Yeah.
We're only going to stand up if we pay attention.
That's right. Take an initiative too, I think. Working with young people, their mindset can be a little far-fetched because they can't connect the now to the later.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is getting them to understand that what we're doing now is going to affect our future. Yeah. So if they get on the board with that, if we all get aboard with that, then I think we'll be a much better community.
Agreed.
I think we'll move in all the same direction.
Yeah.
Nobody left behind.
That's right. We can't let anybody else come behind and do it for us.
Right. And that's the thing too. My husband, he's big on this. And I don't want to sound crazy, but he likes to say, that new store is going to be Indian operated or it's going to be Pakistani owned. Why can't never be Black people owning it?
Yeah.
That's why we should pay attention to our elected officials, to the meetings that are happening, to the boards, to, being aware. Being aware is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even with that, you look at a city like Augusta that is majority African American. Name me 2 or 3 programs that the government has in place. Name me 2 programs that the local government has in place that will support an African American opening a convenience store or opening a retail shop. I met with a young lady yesterday. I don't even think she's 30 years old, but she wants to open her own bar/restaurant lounge downtown. But she's starting from scratch. She needs startup funding. She needs business mentorship. She needs everything to renovate the building. Name me 2 programs that can help her. I can probably think of, all right, name me 3 because I can probably think of 2.
You can think of 2?
I can probably think of 2.
Okay.
But she wouldn't qualify for either one of them.
Wow.
So we have a responsibility.
And that's a very good point. I met with Jordan Trotter, one of
Mhm.
his agents,
Mhm.
because I wanted to open up a restaurant and
Mhm.
lounge, and this was earlier this year. And I reached out. He gave me the information to talk to the SBA office, the one that's out of, I guess it's Georgia. Is it Georgia State?
Maybe so.
Like Athens area.
Mhm.
And he told me that I needed to have at least 40% of what my loan was going to be in order to get the loan. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, if I had the money
I wouldn't be talking
to
to you.
put down, I wouldn't be needing the loan in the
Yeah.
first place, right?
Yeah.
So you are absolutely right. There's not a lot of stuff out there for us, but that is why this podcast is so important, connecting individuals, the
Yeah.
resources, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when, again, going back to paying attention, if that's a need of yours,
Yeah.
lobby your local legislative delegation, lobby your commissioners.
Yeah.
Tell them what you need. Hold them accountable.
All right.
I'm proud to say the commission put $500,000 into a small business startup program through the Black Chamber of Commerce
What's that?
2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Okay.
But that was the first of its kind.
Yeah.
We can do more to support our businesses.
Absolutely.
Absolutely can.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. I'm so glad that we're making progressive and not going back.
Listen, don't get me started.
I know. Not going back.
Don't get me started.
So what's the hardest part about your job, Jordan? Is
Doing
doing it?
I'm sorry. Let me let you finish that.
Look, is it hard to keep things moving when you face the pushback from others?
It can be.
Okay.
It can be. But one thing I've always tried to keep in the back of my mind is that 100 no's and 1 yes is still a yes.
It's still a yes.
I remember when I first got on the commission, again, I was like 26, 27. I was the youngest guy down there. I was the youngest commissioner.
It's intimidating.
I was the youngest elected official in the history of the city.
Wow.
They were trying to hear what I had to say. But you can't you down the fact that you have homeless people in our city and we need to do something about it. We created the homeless task force and have been working through that. You can't argue with the fact that the district is a food desert where you have almost 50,000 people. Hey, I like how real it is.
Yeah, me too. Might as well be, huh?
We can't argue that the whole district is living in a food desert.
Right.
50,000 people within the surrounding area, the two districts, 1 and 2, don't have a quality place to go get groceries. We worked to acquire a location and work with an outside vendor to open a grocery store in this district. So some of the things that we were pushing for, and when I say we, I mean myself and the community that I was able to get to support these initiatives. You can't fight those things because they were community driven. And so, yes, I received pushback on a lot of different items, but you keep going.
Yeah.
You keep pushing because it's not about me. I don't get perks for doing this job. Only thing I get is wrinkles. I don't get perks for doing the job. I don't get special treatment.
Yeah.
I pay my speeding tickets just like everybody else.
Right.
But the only perk that I think that does come along with the job is not monetary. You can't hold it, but you can feel it. It's when the person who was sleeping in their car call you asking for somewhere to live. They need help with housing and you're able to help them. Or a neighborhood like East Augusta that flooded for 50 years. Now don't have to redirect their day and don't have to worry about flooding because we were able to put $6 to $7 million into a drainage program. That's what keeps me going. Yeah. So the pushback is going to happen. People are going to be people. Politicians are going to be politicians. But
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, the why is much greater than the how. Yeah. We're going to get to the why eventually.
Absolutely.
But just have to be strong enough to get through that how stage because the how is usually where people mess up.
Yeah.
Get caught up.
That strength is definitely the key. 2024 made me stronger.
Really?
It made me stronger.
Listen, it's all God.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you want to cuss and
when you want to cuss.
It's all God. I'm telling you, because I don't know sometimes. Some days I don't want to put the suit on. Some days I don't want to do the job. But you have to continue to remember your why. And that's not only just in politics and community. That's
in anything.
Homes, yeah. Everyday living.
Yeah.
The why is going to happen.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Jordan. Okay. With your busy schedule, how do you stay connected to the community?
Well, the community keeps me busy. The question should be, how do I keep my head on? How do I stay sane? So what I get into the habit of doing is I can't answer every phone call.
Okay.
It's something I hear all the time. He don't answer the phone. He don't answer the phone. I have 25,000 constituents. And I'm never going to suggest that 25,000 people call me at once, because that would be that would just be over-exaggerating the fact.
Yeah.
But what I've gotten to the habit of doing is just going to the neighborhoods when there's not an election, right? Knocking on doors, going to the community centers, going to neighborhood meetings, going to as many events as I can just to hear from people. But it's difficult. It is not easy because every person has a different need. In my district, I have majority of your public housing.
Okay.
With the exception, maybe one or two.
Okay. I
have majority of your senior living facilities. And I'm making my rounds to those. So how do I stay connected? I go to where they are. I'll pop up at their apartment complexes and just sit in the parking lot.
The front line.
I was in East Oak Point, Delta Manor a few months ago. Just hanging out at the stop sign.
Yeah.
So I think that, you just have to number one, want to. And it's difficult.
Yeah.
Because some days you don't want to.
I like how real, that is. Just to go sit at the stop sign, another politician may frown upon that, cringe, like sitting at the stop sign.
No, I mean, it's where you meet people where they are.
Yeah, that's right. You're supposed to. You're supposed to. So let's just so we're clear. Yeah. When you say District 1, what area of Augusta are we talking about?
So that's downtown. Associated with schools. Laney, Richmond, Josie.
Okay.
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 That whole vicinity.
Clear. That's very clear.
If you went to any of those schools, you're in District 1.
You're in District 1.
But what kind of throws a little wedge in is because if you went to Cross Creek, you may have been in District 1 if you live within a certain parameter. Okay. Because we have Doug Bernard Parkway out by the airport. We go all the way out right on the edge of Riverwatch where Top Golf is. So shortly before you get there, that's District 1 as well. We have everything up Walton Way to, I think that's Bransford Road.
Yes.
But on the right side of the road. The left side is not.
Okay. Okay.
So, but those are the parameters. Laney, Richmond, Josie. If you went to any three of those schools, you're in District 1. That's Laney Walker, Harrisburg, Sand Hills, Apple Valley, the Apple Valley used to be, but Castle Pines.
Right.
So all of that area.
And that definitely clears it up because anybody who needs, like we said, getting connected to the right people. So if you have something you want to voice, Voices of the City, if you want to voice something to Jordan and you're in any of those areas, this is your commissioner. So that's super important that they know who their District 1 commissioner is. That's good stuff. All right. So right now you're pushing for some important changes. Can you tell us about one that you think will totally change the game for young people in Augusta?
Well, first of all, I want young people to stay in Augusta. Then that's first. We graduate and we head up out of here. That one is shot at you. I promise it wasn't. No, but when I graduated high school, I wanted to leave. I wanted to go to Atlanta. I wasn't thinking about Augusta, but I loved the city, so I stayed. I helped take care of my baby sister, so I had a reason to really stay here. But I look at our downtown, and when you go to any city, you're not going to the rural part of those cities. No. Augusta is rural to a degree, but you're going to go to the downtown. And if you look at our downtown right now, we have improved over the last decade or so. This downtown is not the same downtown as it was when we were coming up.
When you remember those times when we used to go and just walk up and down the street on First Friday? Are you old enough to remember that?
I am. That's all we could do.
That's all we did. We would hit the block and then we would spin around, hit one block, come back down and just walk up and down all night. Yep. That was our downtown.
That was it. From like 7 or 8 until they started sending us out, when they had the curfew in place.
Yeah.
Remember 1102?
I do remember 1102. That was my
Playground?
Spot. Yes, I remember Playground.
Right. We're going to do another
We have to talk
conversation
about
Playground.
Oh my God. That's good stuff.
1102 was my spot.
Mine too.
Left there and jumped over to Playground. Left Playground and had to go home. Then we would probably go to Alley Cats.
Alley Cats.
And then head on back out to Helps.
Yeah. Wow. That made me feel a little old.
Yeah, because what are they now? Mellow Mushroom. A marketing company.
Because I remember when 1102 had the back part. Remember, it was the front, right? It was the restaurant in the front, but
went
the
to the back, he was on some
it
stuff.
Was some different.
That stage back there.
Good times.
Yeah, man. Great times.
Downtown has so much potential.
Yeah.
I like to say that it's kind of ran by a lot of the older heads in Augusta, and they don't want to see it change, right? Because there's so many buildings down there that I've went in personally. Hey, what do you want for this building?
Yeah.
Like, what can we talk about? I got some things and some visions and some goals that I want to accomplish, and I want to be downtown to do it, and they just will not let up.
Yeah, I think we have a lack of ideas.
Yeah.
Right. So, and well, let me rephrase that. I don't think we have a lack of ideas. I think it just goes back to that original conversation we're having about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
All the gatekeeping just has to stop.
Yeah.
If you have an idea for a business that could improve the downtown area, like if I own the property, I should be willing to let you come in and do it, to do whatever your business idea is. We know that's just so pie in the sky because it's based off of what they want, which is why we need to start owning some things.
That's right.
We need to start owning some buildings so that we don't have to beg to have our initiatives take place in downtown. But even right now with the restaurants and the bars and the family-oriented places, I think we need some place that we can just go in and do indoor gaming, kind of like Putt Shack.
Kid you not, yesterday we were in the mall and Sears is vacant.
Yeah.
My husband said that would be a great Andretti's.
It would be. That would be great.
Nothing in that mall that, surpasses shopping, and it's mere shopping. Yeah. I still rather go online, but Andretti's.
I can't fit nothing in the mail stores,
But Andretti's or something of that nature will really seal the deal for our mall. A movie theater or something right there in the center of the mall.
When I ran, there was a quote that I gave to I think it was Augusta magazine. And I said that Augusta should be an attraction. Downtown should be an attraction.
Yeah.
So when you're coming down here, what are you coming for other than to walk around? What are you coming down here for? But I will say this, over the last few years, there has been an increase in the public art.
Yeah.
There's been increases in festivals. Downtown Augusta is experiencing the biggest boom that we've experienced in a long time, both from an attraction standpoint and the economic standpoint. But I want to see some skyscrapers.
Me too.
I want to see some of these vacant buildings, something done with it.
It's rooftops or something.
Rooftops, hotels, something for us to do.
Yeah.
But that goes back. If that's what we want to see in our community, you have to know who to talk to. You know how to reach out to. Like, you have elected officials. You have a commissioner, a mayor, and a super district commissioner. So if that's what the hope is, let's push it. Yeah. So I think if we developed our downtown, if we created ourselves our own little epicenter or our own little, what is Atlanta has the Battery entertainment district space. Yeah. If we created our own spaces like that here, we'll be good. We'll have a place that we can live, we can work, we can have fun. We won't have to leave Augusta to go get those experiences.
Yeah, it sucks that we have to do that. Every time we want to enjoy ourselves, it's like, oh, same old things in Augusta, same restaurants, the bare minimum, no entertainment. Everybody doesn't want a club all the time. We just want somewhere professional to go sometimes. So, yeah.
I ask people, what you going to do about it?
That's a good question.
What are you going to do about it? Are we going to let another 20 or 30 years pass us by? Or what are we going to do about it? Like, if this is what we want to do, let's sit down and talk about it. Yes. Let's figure out what it is so we can go get to work on it. I'm proud of the progress we've made down here over the last 4 years. But I do know that we still have so much more work to be done.
Definitely.
So what are we going to do about it? Let's get to work.
That's the real question. What are we going to do about it?
That's right.
If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about Augusta in the next 5 to 10 years, what would it be? Little magic wand.
One thing?
Just one right now. I know there is several different things.
Okay, one thing.
One.
Now, I'm probably going to catch flack for this because, and it's okay, I don't mind a little flack.
Okay.
It's all right. I'm the downtown commissioner.
Okay.
But if I could take a magic wand and wave it over that Tobacco Road, Windsor Spring intersection.
Okay. That's my area now.
I would create a downtown South Richmond County or a downtown South Augusta or market that area to being uptown Augusta. Charlotte has a downtown. Charlotte has an uptown.
And
Atlanta has a downtown. Atlanta has a midtown. We have a midtown, which is your Laney Walker area. That's what we're trying to create. But South Augusta, over 50% of us lives in South Augusta.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
And, young folks like you and I, South Augusta.
Our
That
middle
corridor,
class.
the middle
Our middle
class.
class is in South Augusta.
There's so much wealth in South Augusta.
It is.
That looks like us.
It is.
And something else that I think is so profound about that one intersection is, let's get my coordinates right. So if I'm standing at Winter Spring and Tobacco Road and I'm looking at, the KJs or whatever it is, to the east of that is the airport.
Yes.
To the, what is that? West is
the base.
Is the base. It's Fort Eisenhower.
Yep.
You have one strip right there that could be the Washington Road of South Augusta.
Wow. Wow.
If I had my way for one day,
that's
what I would do. And that's trademarked. So if anybody else do it, it's trademarked.
Wow.
No, but if I had my way, I think that's what.
And, we talk about that, though. The people that live out there that way, we're like, darn, we don't get anything out here. They tore down all those trees right there behind the new Walmart. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we're finna get some good stuff. We're finna get a restaurant out here. And it's houses.
Yeah.
It's houses everywhere.
But we need it. We need the housing.
We do.
But you also have Diamond Lakes. You have what you need there. And
yes.
You have the airport. You have schools. You have the base. You have so much to offer.
Yep.
I would reimagine from Tobacco Road to Fort Eisenhower.
Wow.
Turn that into our downtown space.
I'd like to see
Uptown.
that. We have to make that work. We're going to have to talk about that because we're going to have to work some things out.
I think we could.
Yeah.
I think we could. But again, that's just a whole nother part about reimagining what can be possible.
So what can young people do to help with that then?
Well, number one, I think young people to run for office. That's first. If you are not at the table, you ever heard the saying, you're not at the table, you're on the menu?
Yeah.
Run for office.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to be real, okay? It is not attractive to try to run for office and not really know where to start or how to do it. But it's so necessary. Yeah. It is so necessary. And this past school board election that we had was probably one of the first times I seen in Augusta to where you had people run for office who were not politically connected, who didn't go to some big political institute, who didn't go to some Ivy League school, and they ran because they just really wanted to be impactful, and they won. Shout out to Shantae Boyd. Shout out to Samantha Valentine. Shout out to Monique Braswell. 3 Black women who are now serving the school board where the most need is in our county.
That's a whole nother conversation. Being
I'm saying
being so heavily connected, I'm gonna be careful what I say, but
do we need to switch?
Yeah. So, there is a huge need for us in the school board, and I always like to say they're so disconnected. The people that are down here on the board, they haven't been in the classroom in 30 plus years. They don't really know what it's like to educate today. So they're making these decisions, they're calling all these shots, and they have not the slightest idea about what really needs to happen.
One young lady that was running, she said that the reason why she was running was because she was a mom. She was a PTA president, and she just really wanted to see kids and families taken care of.
Yep.
You can't teach a hungry child.
No.
If that child didn't sleep the night before because the parents were arguing, or if that child lives in a hotel, at what point can that child get the education that they need to compete in this capitalistic society that we live in? It can't. So I think young people running for office has got to be
top tier
priority.
Yeah.
Because you look at communities across Georgia where their elected officials are young, progressive-minded people. And those communities thriving communities, it should not have taken. Augusta was formed in 17-something.
Oh.
I was 26. So all I'm saying is if young people really, and I should stop saying young people, I should have another way of referring to young folks because young people just sound so.
That's who we are.
If we have our minds made up that we really want to make change and that we really want to see Augusta thrive, and not just Augusta, maybe you're watching this from Thompson.
Yeah.
Maybe you're watching this from Rennes. Maybe you're watching this from Watley, Burke County. Yep. If you want to see these rural areas, your communities change, you cannot wait for your commissioner to do it. You cannot wait for your mayor to do it. If they were going to do it, they would have already done it.
That's right.
You've got to start with yourself.
Initiative.
You've got to do it.
Yeah.
You've got to do it.
Wow. We're getting close to the end here, but there are a few more questions.
Let's do it.
So, for those that are listening who want to get involved but don't know where to start, what is one thing you recommend they do right now to get in the game?
All right. So this is where I can shamelessly plug Georgia Shift. All right. Georgia Shift, if you haven't heard of it,
Okay.
is an organization that was founded in 2014 by a gentleman who saw the need for young people to be involved in the political process.
Okay.
During the elections, for governor and president and all these other election cycles, a lot of those resources are central to the Atlanta area. So if you're not in the Atlanta area, you don't really get the resources or even the attention. You have to fight like hell just to get recognized. And so he started Georgia Shift because he understood that changing the state was only going to happen by engaging young voters. Simple as that. And so the organization was founded just to engage voters 18 to 35. And I came on in 2020 as the program director.
Okay.
During COVID and during the Biden-Trump election. And we saw record turnout. I became the executive director in 2021. And our mission is the same. However, we want to talk to folks all over the state. We want to talk to people in communities where elected officials aren't going, where resources never come to. We want to go to the communities where they tell you better not go over there at a certain time of night. No, we're going to test that.
Right.
Because I believe that the answers to the problems that we face lies within the people who we're trying to reach. Simple as that. So what can young people do? You could get involved with organizations like Georgia Shift. You can get involved with other organizations, the NAACP, other organizations that you might align your value sets with or create your own. But, we have leadership development programs that can help you, grow your leadership abilities. We're not here to preach to you. We want to hear you. We want to hear what you feel. We want to know what you're thinking because that's where change happens.
Right.
The changes we seek, they're in us.
And it helps to see somebody relatable,
Yeah.
right? That you can relate to on camera, on screen, wherever, right? In the organization so that you don't feel so far-fetched.
That's right. We're just a bunch of imperfect people trying to make impact. No, we don't have it all together.
No.
But that's where change comes from.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to try it.
Yeah.
Try making change.
So lastly, anything else you would like to share with young people who might be feeling inspired by what you're doing? How can they plug into you?
Well, social media, is the best way.
That is the best way right now. Social media.
Facebook, Jordan Johnson. Instagram, one Jordan Johnson. ONE. I'm on TikTok. Same thing. I think it's one Jordan Johnson on TikTok. Yeah. Or just hit me up, call me. My number is 706-564-9356. Let's talk. Yeah. But even if you don't want to connect with me or you don't know where to start, right? Just whatever your passion is, whatever your issue set is, if you really care about healthcare, go find somebody to shadow. If you really care about, helping people not live in poverty, go find someone to volunteer. Yeah. Start hearing those stories. Start talking to people about what they're dealing with. Again, you're going to always find your why. You're going to always get to your why. It's not even a question about that. If you stay focused, you're going to get to your why. You're going to fulfill that purpose that God put on the inside of you. But connect with me. If I can help you, I'm going to. If you want to connect with Georgia Shift, we're on social media as well. Facebook, Georgia Shift. Instagram, Georgia.shift. TikTok, Georgia Shift. Yeah. Let's connect. Let's link up. And I think that's when making change in the communities will start. And again, this isn't something that I'm just telling you because I've been told to tell you this. This is something that I've lived. And I feel like things have been better because of the initiatives that you're pushing, that I'm pushing, that other people in this community are pushing. But when we do it together,
way more impactful.
The impact is so much greater.
Way more impactful.
So I'm fired up. I'm ready to go with it. And, I'll have this little saying that says, as long as you're down for the ride and as long as you're ready to fight and go, you can be rest assured I'm going to be right there in the middle with you. Yeah. And I mean that.
You'll get in the flames with us.
Let's do it.
I like that.
Let's do it.
We need somebody in the flames.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this has been great. Getting to know your personal impact, is a lot, right? Yeah. It's a lot to digest because it's like, wow, it's so much, going on in the city. And we definitely have to strive to change. So we're working with you. We're not against you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're working for our kind. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. I tell you all the
Thank you.
time, you're a
Thank you.
superstar. And I'm like, I sped down here to be on this couch with you. But really, I'm taking my hat off to you because you're doing some great work. And
Thank
you're
you.
definitely somebody that, people can take some notes from.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
keep being who you are.
I'm trying. I had a little moment this morning where I was like, wait a minute, how are you going to call yourself an influencer? And then you kind of feel away when people don't acknowledge you've influenced them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, girl, that's how life works.
That's right.
It's okay.
That's right.
They see you.
You don't get the flowers
Yeah,
immediately. No.
they see you.
Yeah.
So it's working out.
That's right.
I'm so glad you got a chance to sit down with us. Again, this is Voices of the City. This is your local, your statewide, and your national information hub for all the things that impact you. Until next time.